The Angry Marks Podcast Network is brought to you by WrestleWork, a social network to connect, create, and share everything about pro wrestling. Check it out today at WrestleWork.com.
You're listening to Glove Up or Shut Up on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Well, this is a show that's been circled on my calendar for a few months now, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I am definitely going to watch this entire show. Prelims, Fight Pass, the whole 9 yards. I'm doing it all.
Alright, well, let's start at the main event with Anthony Pettis against the number one contender, Rafael dos Anjos.
Well, why would you say you guess? He is ranked number one. It's his spot.
It is his spot. For some reason, in my head, I thought he was number two for some reason when I said that. I was like, is he number one, number two?
No.
But,
he beat number three, which is Cowboy Donald Cerrone, and he's arguably a more interesting fighter than Nurmagomedov, so there you go.
That's true. But, is this a tough test for Pettis, or, is he gonna breeze through Dos Anjos?
Well, I don't know. I still favor the champion, because I've seen Pettis be on an incredible roll in his last few fights, and I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon, but I will say that Dos Anjos is the kind of guy who can make it an uncomfortable fight for Anthony Pettis, because it won't just be about Pettis being faster or stronger or hitting better. He's gonna have to go in there and hang with a guy that's equal to him in punching power and also has a wicked arsenal of arm bars and all sorts of other things he can do to him as well. You don't want to just assume that it's going to be a stand-up fight, because Dos Anjos can take it to the ground and take it to him if he wants to.
I think this fight will definitely last longer than 16 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's a given. I actually wouldn't be surprised if it went the full 5, because I'm sure that Dos Anjos is coming in for this fight in the greatest shape of his life. He's not going to go out there and just coast. I mean, this guy has been to a decision in a lot of fights that he's won. I mean, he went to a decision with the Cowboy. He went to a decision with Bochek and Njokwani and Evan Dunham. I mean, he actually was on quite a run of going to unanimous decisions there for a while until he had the fight that didn't go his way with Nurmagomedov. And then after that, he turned up the striking and really let that go. So it's going to be a huge test for Pettis, but somehow I think he's just going to come out ahead just a little bit.
The lines have it, Pettis is a minus 450, Dos Anjos plus 360.
That's pretty heavy. I don't disagree that Pettis is going to retain, but that seems to be putting extra amounts of faith in him to have the line be that far into the negative territory.
It's almost one of those lines where you might even put some coin on Dos Anjos in the event he wins.
Yeah, that would be tempting with him being that much of a dog in that fight. I could see why the action would move that way.
Although I always caution the listeners that when we look at the odds,
they change.
They always change the weigh-ins.
Once you get to the actual show, they're going to be completely different.
No, the weigh-ins usually, so a lot of people don't put the smart money down until after they see them on the scales, because sometimes on paper they look great, but when they step on that scale and they look ripped or they look, not ripped, doughy. It depends how they train for their fight, and when they're on that scale, it's them in the scale. There's no way around it.
Well, if you're gonna go there, let's just say this much. Every time Dos Anjos has been at a weigh-in, he has looked ripped. He's never looked too skinny or too fat. He's always been perfect.
Speaking of perfect,
Pettis gets his haircut 4 times a week.
What?
You didn't hear this story?
No.
He owns a barber shop, so he goes in there and gets free haircuts. He gets his hair done 4 times a week.
It's just random.
It's totally random, but it's totally awesome too, because that's how much Anthony Pettis cares about his appearance. He's not just Showtime in name because he's such a flashy fighter. He's Showtime because he's Mr. GQ.
Do you think he'll give a deal to, who was it, Brian Ebersol?
No, I don't think so. Not for, it's a barber shop, not a chest shaving shop.
Why don't you talk about the first defense for the strawweight title in UFC?
Yes, the Cookie Monster Carla Esparza is going up against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. And this should be a very nice fight for both women, because Esparza is on an incredible roll here. She, came out the Invicta strawweight champion, the last one ever there, was crowned the first UFC strawweight champion, beating Rose Namajunas with a rear naked choke. But Jędrzejczyk it has all kinds of momentum going for her right now because she is undefeated and beat people that used to be in the same Invicta weight class as the champion, like Claudia Gadelha. So you got to look out because Hendricks is going to take it to her. This is going to be a very exciting fight.
The champion is a minus 165, the challenger plus 145.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's that close. And that's a line I think is actually a lot more in the area I would think. Like with Pettis and Dos Anjos, I'm surprised it's that far apart. But with the strawweight fight, I'm not surprised at all.
Moving on, we have a huge matchup in the welterweight division between Matt Brown and Johnny Hendricks.
Yeah, it's a possible contenders fight because Matt Brown, we remember he was on that incredible tear until he worked his way up to the number one contenders fight with Robbie Lawler, and things didn't go his way in that fight, but still, that was the first fight he had lost in like 7 or 8 fights, so he's still right there in the mix in terms of contenders at welterweight. And of course, Hendricks is the former champion, and he, if you're gonna get back to a title shot and get your title back, you gotta beat a guy who's right up there near the top like you are.
Yeah, Matt Brown ranked number 5 right now, so definitely a win here would vault him into, I would say, at least top number 3.
You would think so, yeah. It would be huge for Matt Brown, but I think it's even more huge for Johnny Hendricks because he's already number 1, so what else does he have to prove? All he has to prove is he has to beat another contender, and if he does it convincingly, then he's going to get that rematch.
Well, Hendricks is minus 350 to Matt Brown's plus 290.
Which I would tend to agree with because as much as I like Matt Brown, he's got that one-punch knockout power, and we all know it, and he blows through everything. It's very hard to slow him down or knock him down. But I will say, looking at the Lawler fight, I could see the weakness in him in that he could be outpointed over the long haul. He may be able to go in there and throw a punch and take a punch, but his brawling style doesn't lend itself to the judges' scorecards.
Well, as far as the fights go, I'm going to go with the 2 champions, and for this fight, I'm going to go with Matt Brown in an upset.
All right, well, that's your pick, but I'll stick with Big Rig.
This next fight, morbid curiosity for me, which Overeem shows up for this one? Overeem fighting Roy Nelson.
Well, you gotta say right off the bat that Overeem is the favorite in this fight.
Yeah, he's minus 210 to Nelson's plus 175.
So that's, it's not unreasonable. He has won 2 out of his last 3 fights. He beat Frank Mir and Stefan Struve, and the only blemish in his recent memory is getting TKO'd by Big Ben Rothwell. He is kind of on the upswing right now. There was a point where we were talking about whether Overeem was still relevant when he lost to both Bigfoot Silva and Hopper Brown, but now it feels like he could just be 1 win back away from getting back into the mix again.
But standing in his way is Roy Nelson, not exactly an easy opponent.
No, and whatever he lacks in the sculpted look, he makes up for in punching power and in popularity, because Big Country is still one of the most popular heavyweights that's ever been in UFC, so.
Well, he's got charisma in spades.
Yes, he does, but what he doesn't have in spades is wins, because he's lost 3 out of his last 4, so. Like I said, we were talking about Overeem, how he seems to be on an upward trajectory. Feels like Big Country might be on a downward trajectory right now.
Fair statement. He's lost 3 of his last 4, and it's funny, you say that, yet Nelson's still ranked number 8, Overeem's ranked number 9.
Yeah, well, it's time, as the song says, welcome to the show. So please step inside and find out which one of these heavyweights is going to reestablish themselves as a top 10 contender, and the other guy's probably going to drop into the lower echelon.
At Nelson at number 9, Overeem number 12 in your personal rankings.
Yeah, well, I still feel like Overeem has more to prove, but I don't object to his overall ranking, even if I don't have him that high.
I just saw that and I was like, whoa, I mean, I see what you're going for there, but it's one of those things where, I think a win here by Overeem, he'll definitely crack your top 10 in your personal rankings, but as far as where he goes in the heavyweight division rankings overall, I don't know, because is he better than Mark Hunt? Is he better than Frank Mir? Is he better than Arlovsky? I don't know. I mean, a win here won't really vault him that high.
Yeah, well, here's what I'll say about that since you already threw it out there. I think of the people you just named, Overeem would be competitive with Arlovsky. He could probably win that fight. Mark Hunt, I tend to believe that's a winnable fight for Overeem as long as he doesn't stand there and take power shots from Hunt, because that'll level anybody. And the rest of the top 5, I wouldn't give him that much of a chance.
Barnett would be interesting.
Yeah, but Barnett would probably take him down and hold him down. I don't know if he'd win against Barnett.
Let's move on to the next fight, and it's kicking off the pay-per-view. It's Chris Carrizo against Henry Cejudo. Carriazo. What did I say? Carrizo?
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's alright, cause you do it every time his name comes up. So I figure one of these days you'll surprise me with it, and I'll be like, holy shit. But anyway.
Cejudo's the heavy favorite here, minus 580.
Heavy is not a word I want to use with Henry Cejudo. I don't never say heavy when he's about to step on the scale.
Minus 580 to plus 440.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make the weight, watch that flip completely the other way around.
Oh, well, hopefully he tips the scales for good instead of bad this time.
Yes, indeed.
But as far as the fight goes, Cejudo, he makes weight, he wins this fight. I mean, there's no way I shouldn't say that. Let me try to rephrase that. There's no way he would lose this fight if he sticks to his game plan. His skill set is much higher than his opponent in this fight. This is one fight I would definitely put Cejudo in the winner's column. I mean, this is my, like, if we ever did like a lock of the night or something, or a smart pick of the night, this is my smart pick right here. But do you think do you think I'm wrong on this, or do you agree?
No, with Cejudo's credentials, the fact that he is a gold medalist and one of the best wrestlers in the country in any weight class, I don't see any way that Carriazo wins this fight, like you said, if Cejudo makes the weight.